जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे जय
राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे जय
राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
जो स्वामी सो चाहि कछु सो नहीं दास कहाय राधे राधे
जो स्वामी सो चाहि कछु सो नहीं दास कहाय राधे राधे
जो स्वामी सो चाहि कछु सो नहीं दास कहाय राधे राधे
जो स्वामी सो चाहि कछु सो नहीं दास कहाय राधे राधे
सो स्वामी न कहाय जो दास ही आस लगाय राधे राधे
सो स्वामी न कहाय जो दास ही आस लगाय राधे राधे
सो स्वामी न कहाय जो दास ही आस लगाए राधे राधे
सो स्वामी न कहाय जो दास ही आस लगाय राधे राधे
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे जय
राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। जो स्वामी सो चाहि कछु सो नहीं दास कहाय। जो स्वामी से कुछ मांगते हैं उसको दास नहीं कहते, भक्त नहीं कहते हैं। Yesterday I told the nature of the soul. हमारे असली स्वभाव है हम दास हैं। Nature of the soul is an eternal servant of Shri Krishna. जीवेर स्वरूप है कृष्णेर नित्य दास। Gaurang Mahaprabhu says, the Jeev, Atma, the soul, is an eternal servant of Shri Krishna. Our दास का धर्म है सेवा करना. And duty of a servant is to do seva, to serve the master. So here, Jagat Gurutam, Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu is saying, that person who calls himself servant, devotee, and yet he demands, begs and asks for something, worldly thing especially, from the master, he is not the servant. ये कथा है भागवत में, बहुत प्रसिद्ध है। जब भगवान ने नरसिंह अवतार लिया, नरसिंह अवतार आधे पशु आधा मनुष्य, हिरण्यकशिपु को मारने के लिए, अपने भक्त प्रहलाद की रक्षा करने के लिए भगवान ने ये रूप बना के आया, नरसिंह भगवान। तो हिरण्यकशिपु को मारने के बाद भगवान ने प्रहलाद को अपने गोद में बिठाया और प्रहलाद से कहा कि बेटा बरम ब्रूहि, बर मांगो। Very famous katha in 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. Bhagwan took a very special descension as Narsingh Bhagwan. Narsingh. Nar, human, Singh, sher, lion. So half lion, half man. Two things here. One, Hiranyakashipu had gotten the boon that neither man, nor animal, nor devata should be able to kill him. Nantarbah divanaptam manayasmad pichayudhaihi na bhumau nambare mrityu nanairai namrigairapi. It's the boon, long list. Brahma had told him to ask for a boon, being pleased by his tapasya. He made this long list. He didn't ask for immortality. Ki amar de do, amarvatta, that I should not die. Instead, he asked that I should die neither indoors nor outdoors, neither in the day nor in the night, neither in the earth nor in the sky, neither by man nor animal, nor any weapon. Long list. So Bhagwan came as a mixture, half man, half lion, in order to kill Hiranyakashipu. Secondly, to also prove that I am everywhere, in everything. Sab, sarva vyapak. ये सिद्ध करने के लिए कि मैं सर्वव्यापक हूं. To prove that I am all pervaded and everywhere, in the home of a Rakshas also. There's no place that Bhagwan is not there. We cannot find such a place. To prove that in everything, Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Varaha avatar, Shukra avatar. He came as everything. Fish, tortoise, pig, human being, everything. And not only that, as mixture also. Only in Sanatan Dharma. और कोई धर्म नहीं. Only in Sanatan Dharma, not in any other religion. To prove I am everywhere in everything. So, He came as half man, half lion. It was twilight, neither day nor night, dusk. He took Hiranyakashipu and placed him on his lap. It was neither the earth nor the sky. He took him to the threshold, the doorway, so it was neither indoors nor outdoors, and took his nails. So it was no weapon created by man nor Devata, and ripped him apart. After that, the gods and everyone was very happy. And he placed Prahlad on his lap and said, "My son, I am very pleased with your devotion, your love. Ask me for a boon. Mango mujhse kuch." Prahlad replied to Bhagwan and said, "Yasta ashisha ashaste nasa bhratyah savai banik." Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 7th canto, 10th chapter, 4th verse. Someone who claims to be a devotee, a servant, and yet makes demand of the master, asks him for worldly things to satisfy his desire, wo bhratya nahi hai. He is not a bhratya, means he is not bhritya, not a devotee. Wo bhakt hai nahi. वो है बनिक, बनिया. He is a businessman. Trying to make deal with Bhagwan. तो वो भक्त नहीं है. There's one condition for doing bhakti. Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Samit Sindhu, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavitam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. Bhakti Samit Sindhu. Anyabhilashita shunyam. Besides the desire to love Shri Krishna, to love God selflessly, to love the Master selflessly, we should have no desires. Anyabhilashita shunyam. No desires. No desires mean there are 4 traditional aims of human life. Dharma, artha, kam, moksha. One should not desire these 4. Dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Desire for righteousness, desire for wealth, desire for pleasure, desire for moksha. It can also be classified as sattvic desires, rajasic desires, tamasic desires, desire for moksha, liberation. It can further be classified desire for the material world, the pleasures of the material world, desire for heaven, swarg, and desire for moksha, liberation. Furthermore, it can be classified desire for bhukti. Bhukti means the pleasures of the material world plus the pleasures of heaven combined. This is called bhukti, and mukti, to merge into the formless aspect of Shri Krishna, Brahma. Both bhukti as well as mukti has to be given up if we want to do bhakti, if we want to get bhakti. Bhukti mukti sprihayavat pishachi hridhi vartate Tavad bhakti sukasyata katamabhyudayo bhavet. Bhakti Samit Sindhu, that great saint, the Rup Goswami, he said, he's calling Bhukti as well as Mukti, Pishachini, demoness, witches, that we have to stay far away from. I went in detail about this yesterday, Bhukti and Mukti. As long as the desire for Bhukti, pleasures of the material world plus desire for heavenly pleasures combined, Bhukti as well as Mukti, moksha, liberation, is in the heart of an individual, Bhakti Mahadevi, the goddess of divine love, will never come. So, ये दास है, ये कुछ मांगते नहीं, वो देना चाहते हैं. दीयमानम न गृह्णन्ति. I told you, सालोक्य सार्षि सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वम अप्युत दीयमानम न गृह्णन्ति बिना मत्सेवनम जनाः. 5 Mukti. Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, Ekatva. 5. Even if it is been given, devotee says, I don't want it. A true devotee. And don't even think about material pleasures. Wo dena. He wants to give. Definition for bhakti, for love, is dena. To give and only give and want nothing in return. कई बार आपको बताया. There are 3 things. Many times it's been told to us, 3 things. One is lena, to take and only take. One is lena, to give and take. And one is dena, to give and only give. So lena, to take and only take, this is called lust, काम. Lena, dena, give and take. This is business, vyapar. And dena, to give and only give. And want nothing in return. This is called love. ये संसार में है ही नहीं. We say, I love you. We have no idea what the word love means. What we call love is not love. We have been well taught and well practiced in lena, dena and lena. But no one has ever taught us dena, to give and only give. When we think there is love in the world, somebody is saying the best thing and doing the best thing for us. They're telling us, giving us high praise. There is swart. Jate kachu nij स्वार्थ होई तापर ममता करे सब कोई सुर नर मुनि सब कै यह रीति स्वार्थ लागी करहि सब प्रीति. Shankar Bhagwan is saying to Parvati in the Ramayana, the basis of all worldly relationship, all worldly affection is swarth, selfishness. The more outward love and affection we get from anyone in the world, the greater is the selfishness involved. Somebody's given high praise, telling us the nicest things. They want something from us. We also do the same. When we desire for something, a child will never listen to the parent with back answer, would go against the wishes, but when they want something, Mummy, Papa, so sweet. We all do this. Yet we are fooled when others make the same pretension with us, thinking it to be the real thing. So, this thing which is called love is a different thing. It's a divine thing. We'll hear more about that as we go along in one of the verses coming up. So, a true bhakt, a true das, does not ask anything from the master. He wants to please the master. I told you yesterday, tat sukha sukhitvam, Narad Bhakti Sutra. A true devotee is happy in the happiness of the beloved. Whatever makes the beloved happy. Unki ichha hai, unko sukh dena. His only desire is to make the beloved, the master, happy. Whatever makes him happy. Apni ichha nahi chahte hai. Does not desire his own happiness. This is unlike what we know in the world. We all want our own happiness. Apna. Swarth matlab swa arth. Apna sukh. Sarva swartham samihate. The scripture says, everyone is selfish by nature. As long as we are under Maya, we are all selfish. It doesn't sound nice. We like to think, I am a very selfless person. I only try to help others. There's something called ego, abhiman. It does not allow us to see what we really are. It does not allow us to understand the truth. It will never let us know, tell us the truth, how we are. As long as we are under Maya, everyone is selfish. Not a bad thing to want our happiness. As I mentioned, we all, being a fraction of happiness, we want, it's our nature to want happiness, our happiness. But we're looking for it in the wrong place. Anyhow, so this is a true das, bhartya, bhakt, devotee. Aur so Swami na kaha jo das hi aas lagaye. In the same way also, जो स्वामी कहते हैं, अगर वो असली स्वामी है, वो कभी दास की आशा नहीं करते, दास से कि वो हमें कुछ देंगे. And someone is a true master. If he is a true master, he never looks upon the servant with desire to help for something. After all, he is a master. वो कुछ नहीं चाहते. Just as the servant wants to please the master also wants to please the servant. विचित्र है. In the same amount that the devotee wants to please Shri Krishna wants to please the devotee also. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Mahapuran, Aham bhakta paradhino hya swatantra ivadvij sarubhirgrasta hridayo bhaktair bhakta janapriya. 9th canto, 4th chapter, 63rd verse. Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying to Durvasa, hey Durvasa, Bhakt Grasta Hridaya, those who love me, they have eaten my heart. Grasta Hridaya. What does it mean? That the heart is something like rasgulla to eat? No, no, no. They have taken control of me. I am no longer free, independent. The scripture says, Param Swatantana Sirabalako. That Bhagwan is supremely independent, free. No one and nothing controls Bhagwan. Bhagwan is saying, yes, Durvasa, that is also true, but there is an exception, subsection, that's the rule, वो नियम है, लेकिन सब नियम में एक subsection है. In every rule, there's a subsection, an exception. What is the exception? Aham bhakta paradhinaha. When it comes to those who love me selflessly, anyabhilashita shunyam, remember that. Beside the desire to love the Lord selflessly, he renounces all desires. Such a devotee brings Bhagavan under his control. He says, I am no longer free. Aham bhakta paradhinaha. Paradhinaha. I am no longer free, Durvasa. Those who love me, my bhakta, they bind me and tie me up with the rope of love. वो प्रेम की रस्सी से हमको बांध देते हैं. आप स्वतंत्र नहीं हैं. And they make me dance as a monkey dances to the tune of the trainer. जो भक्त चाहते हैं भगवान को करना पड़ेगा. Whatever devotee wants, Bhagwan has to do. He has no choice. Ram sada sevak ruchi rakhi, Ved Puran sadhu sur sakhi. He loves to fulfill the wishes of those who love him. Whatever devotee, after someone attains God realization, he doesn't desire for anything anymore. Bhagwan kept insisting to Prahlad to ask for something. This Prahlad said that if I am your Das, your servant, if I were to ask, I'll be a businessman. Bhagwan says, that's okay. Fine, acha hai. But it's my nature that whenever I meet someone, a devotee, it's my nature, sabka swabhav hai. Ye meri swabhav, this is my nature, that I ask those who I meet, my devotee, to ask for a boon. So you should also ask. So Prahlad said, ठीक है, okay. मैं दास हूँ. I am a das servant. You're my master. If it pleases you that I should ask, then I will ask. So Prahlad said, Yadirami shame kaman varanstvam vardarshabha kamanamrita sandoham bhavatastu vrine varam. 7 Canto, 10 chapter, 7 verse. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran. Prahlad said, Maharaj, if you insist that I should ask you for something, some boon, ask for something, then give me the boon that my desire to ever ask you for anything be destroyed forever. In other words, let me never ask you for anything. Yeah, Bhagwan. This is a devotee. For such a devotee, Bhagwan comes under that devotee's control. Look, whatever we do in the world, it is because we want happiness. I told you yesterday. Being a fraction of happiness, we all desire and want only happiness. Jo bhi hum karte hai sansar mein, whatever action we perform, it's only for one thing, happiness. Of course, we don't get it in the world, but after attaining God realization, whatever Bhagwan has, He gives. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Chapter 10, verse 10, Gita. Bhagwan gives everything He has. Supreme knowledge, supreme bliss. Everything He gives. So having attained supreme happiness forever, that person should not desire for anything anymore. And he doesn't. But even after attaining God realization, just in case a devotee decides that I want to rule the world, I want to have material pleasures, Bhagwan cannot refuse. A devotee is never going to ask. He's attained everything. But even if he were to ask, Bhagwan will give it. Bhakt kabhi nahi maange. Bhagwan told Prahlad, after Prahlad had attained everything and said, I don't want anything, the desire to even ask you for anything, let it be destroyed forever. Bhagwan told Prahlad, rule the whole world, one king, ek raja, for one manvantar. The age of Manu. How long is one manvantar? 306,720,000 years. Our time. For so long, Prahlad, you rule the whole world. Prahlad kabhi mange? Prahlad kabhi Bhagwan se mange nahi. Prahlad never asked. He didn't want. Bhagwan said, I want you to do this. Prahlad did. तो भगवान भी कभी नहीं मांगते. अब देखो क्या आप मांगते हैं भगवान भक्त से. What does Bhagwan? Look what he asks for. Not, he says, give me something. What does he say to give? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktupahita mashnami prayatatmanah. Chapter 9, verse 26, Gita. Give me a leaf, flower, a fruit, a few drops of water. This doesn't cost anything. Kahin bhi se patra mil sakte. You can get leaf anywhere. You can walk anywhere and get leaf. Any kind of leaf. Pushpa, flowers, any wild flowers you can get. You don't have to go and get a rose. Gulab. Expensive flower. ये नहीं बताया कि जब से महंगा लाओ. बस पुष्प, any flower, any fruit, जो भी मिलते हैं, any kind of fruit. अरे he ate the जूठा bear. This is a kind of plum. It looks right, but you cannot know if it's sweet or sour without tasting it. देखते हैं कि पक्का है, देखने में it looks like it's ripe, but you to eat it is katta. So only by tasting you can know if it's sweet or sour. अब शबरी जो वन में रहती थी, Shabari is living in the forest. She is very poor. She has nothing to give, and she knows the Lord is. Guru had told her, Bhagwan will come. एक दिन आएंगे भगवान आपके पास. और शबरी ने सोचा क्या दूं, what to give, what I will give to him. अब मेरे पास बस ये बेड़ है. All I have is these plums. The Shabari would go and pick those plums and taste them. And the ones that were sweet, she kept in the basket. Where she threw away. And those plums, jhutha बेड़, हम लोग भी भोग लगाते हैं भगवान को, राधा कृष्ण सीताराम रोज कर, अभी अभी तो किया हम लोगों ने. We offer bhog to Bhagwan. We are supposed to. Before eating, we are supposed to offer to Bhagwan. Yat karoshya dashnasi yat johosya dasyat yat tapasyasi kauntya tadat. Bhagwan says in Gita, whatever action you perform, whatever sacrifice you make, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, offer to me first. पहले मुझ पर अर्पित करो. Offer to me first, then partake. We should not just cook and just eat. Offer to Bhagwan. But nobody none of us will taste it first and then say, okay, Bhagwan. So no, we don't taste it and then offer bhog to Bhagwan. But Shabari, she tasted it. Jhutha. And she gave to Sri Ram. And Bhagwan ate with great relish. So sweet. He said to Lakshman, hey Lakshman, we got Raj Bhog in Janakpur. The best delicacies we got in Janakpur. But nothing can compare to the sweetness, Lakshman, I am getting from these fruits that were tasted by Shabari. So Bhagwan says, give me anything. Even a few drops of water, but give it with love. Bas prem mangte hai, prem. All he wants us to give love, love, to love him selflessly. You can give the best thing in the world, Chappan Bhog. Duryodhan, he's a king, Raja hai. He ordered 56 type Chappan Bhog to be made. And then he said, hey Krishna, come and eat. Bhagwan says, no. I'm not coming. मैं भूखा नहीं हूं. I'm hungry. हाँ भूखा है. भक्तों के जो भक्त देते हैं. I am hungry for those who love me, for their love. That's why he ate the chilka, the banana peel of Bidurani, and refused to eat from Duryodhan because it was not given with love. So Bhagwan, he doesn't ask. Why is he saying give flower, fruit, all these things? With love, brains. He's asking for our love, that's all. Doesn't mean he's asking for anything. And when we give that love to him, we love him selflessly, what happens? Nirapeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarsanam anubrajamiham nityam puitang ghirenu. 11 Canto, 14 chapter, 16 verse. When someone loves Bhagwan selflessly, what happens? He becomes a slave to that devotee. उनके गुलाम बन जाते हैं. He becomes a slave. He's saying to Uddhav, those who love me selflessly, who have completely surrendered to me, I run after them. उनके पीछे पीछे भागता हूं. Uddhav says, Krishna, why? To protect them? Bhagwan said, no. I already do that sitting in their heart. उनके हृदय में बैठ के वही करता. I already do that sitting in their heart. तो क्यों उनके पीछे भागते हैं? Why you running after them? So that when they walk, the dust of their feet will come on me. Or puye, I'll become purified. मैं सभी का पाप लेता हूं ना. I am patit pavan, Bhagwan says. So I take the sins of uncountable souls. मैं पतित पावन हूं. I am taking all the sins of so many souls. So my whole body has become filled with pap, sin. So when I run after my devotee and the dust of their feet will come on me, I become purified again. It's nothing like that. Any excuse to serve those who love him. He becomes a servant of his servant. So servant wants to serve Bhagwan and Bhagwan wants to serve the servant. दोनों देना चाहते हैं. ये दोनों का धर्म है देना देना. Both of them, the dharma wants to give. Devotee wants to give only and Bhagwan also wants to give only. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस तथैव भजाम्यहम्. Chapter 4 verse 11 Gita. This is a challenge of Bhagwan. A challenge, a divine law, unbreakable law. Shri Krishna says, how a devotee loves me, one who loves me selflessly, how he loves me with whatever feeling. I return that love in the same amount, in the same way, with the same feeling. So devotee wants to give only to Shri Krishna. In the same way, Shri Krishna also wants to only give. This is his divine law. Both only want to give. No one wants to take. This is the true master and the true Swami. We continue. Number 17. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe Jai Radhe
Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe Jai Radhe
Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe.
Hari ko naam roop guna Hari jan nitya nivas Radhe Radhe.
Hari ko naam roop guna Hari jan nitya निवास राधे राधे.
हरि को नाम रूप गुण हरि जन नित्य निवास राधे राधे.
हरि को नाम रूप गुण हरि जन नित्य निवास राधे राधे।
सब एक हरि रूप है, सब में सबको वास राधे राधे।
सब एक हरि रूप है, सब में सबको वास राधे राधे।
सब एक हरि रूप है, सब में सब को वास राधे राधे।
सब एक हरि रूप है, सब में सबको वास राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे।
राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। There are 6 things that भगवान has. भगवान के पास 6 चीजें हैं, 6 things. नाम, रूप, लीला, गुण, धाम, संत। 6 things. नाम, name, uncountable name. सभी अनंत है, all infinite, uncountable name. रूप means form, uncountable forms. Leela, divine pastimes, uncountable divine pastimes. Gun, virtues, attributes for virtues, also infinite. Dham, his divine abodes, wherever he has stayed, lived, taken descension, etc. Infinite. And Sant, Harijan, means Sant, infinite Sant, saints. So 6 things. And all of them are equal. Sabhi mein sab hai. In all of them, all resides. In other words, in the name, all the 6 reside. In the name, there is a form, Roop. There is a Leela, divine pastime. There is a virtue. There is a Dham. There is a saint. In the Roop, in the form, there is a name. There is the form. There is the divine pastime. There is the virtue. There is the Dham, divine abode. There is a saint. All resides in all. All are equal. In other words, in doing bhakti, we can take hold of any one of these. Anyone. The name, any name of Bhagwan. Infinite, infinite. Any name of Bhagwan. We can take hold of the form, any form you like. जो भी आपको अच्छा लगता. Any form. Pastime, any pastime. Even forget about what is written in Bhagavad Mahapuran, Ramayana. ये guide है. This is just guide. A small book. छोटा सा ग्रंथ है। भगवान के सभी चीज अनंत है, अनंत। एवरीथिंग भगवान हैज इज इन्फिनाइट। उनके एक नाम है अनंत। A name for Bhagwan in the Vedas is Anant. Anantaschatma Vishwarupo Hyakarta Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Anantanama Rupaya. Anant means infinite. Everything. So Anant, divine, infinite divine pastimes. Any virtue of the Lord. He is so kind, so merciful, so loving. Any virtue you want to take hold of. His divine abodes, Ayodhya, Vrindavan, Barsana, Bhakti Dham, Navadvip, any divine abode. Our sant, the gopis, thousands and thousands, any saint. This will give you the same result. To meditate on any one of these. And all equal. हाँ, बोलने में संत लोग भी कहते हैं राम से बड़ा राम नाम है. We hear in the bhajan, saints have written that greater than Ram, greater than Bhagwan is the name of Bhagwan. So is the saint telling a fib? Is he lying? You are saying that all is equal, that all reside in all six. And here the saint is saying that greater than Ram is the name of Ram. Why? There's a reason for this. There's no bigger and small. The reason is when Bhagwan descends and comes in this world, during the descension period, no one benefits. Nobody benefits. In uncountable times, the Lord has descended from beginningless time as Ram, Krishna, etc. Uncountable times. We were there. We saw. We were all there. We saw. But what happened? Jaki rahi bhavana jaisi Prabhu murati dekhi tin taisi. How we are on the inside, how we are inside at that time when Bhagwan descended, it got reflected in this. We saw him exactly how we are. When God and the saint comes in the world, saint who is God also, saint is also Bhagwan personified. Bhagwan says, Acharya mam vijaniyan Nava manyet karhichit Namartya buddhya suyet Sarvadevo mayo guru. ये प्रार्थना हम लोग करते रोज. This is a prayer we do every day. This is from Bhagavad Mahapuran. Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying to Uddhav, 11th canto, 17th chapter, 27th verse. Uddhav, Shri Krishna is saying, Uddhav, know the saint, Acharya, the saint, one who's attained God realization. Know him to be me, Uddhav, Shri Krishna personified. Mam vijaniya. Saint and Bhagwan is one. There's no difference. But uncountable times we have seen Bhagwan, uncountable times we have met saint. Nothing happened. Because just how we are on the inside, we see the same way. As in fact, instead of getting benefit, we get harm. We're going to judge. We do nama prad. Instead of getting benefit, we get harm. Many people think, if I were to see Ram, if I were to see Shri Krishna, Shivji, Hanuman, oh, I will fall unconscious with bliss. We have seen, not once, not twice, uncountable times. But avajananti mamudha manushim tanumāshitam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Chapter 9, verse 11, Gita. Shri Krishna says, he says to Arjun, Arjun, unaware that I am Bhagwan, I am my divine nature, who I am, unaware of who I am, ignorant human beings, we people, under the control of Maya, we mistake him to be an ordinary human being just like us, with all the defects and all the shortcomings. Sometimes we think he is worse than us even. We don't benefit. In the Ramayana, Tulsidas goes to the extent of saying, Ek nari tar. When the Lord descended as Sri Ram, in the age of Treta Yuga, he stayed 11,000 years in the world. 11,000 years. And that 11,000 years, Tulsidas Ji Maharaj says, only one person benefited. Ek nari Ahilya. One. And even there's a doubt. Because it didn't say that she went to Bhagwan. It says in the Ramayana, she went to where her husband was. If the husband was with Bhagwan, fine, but if the husband was not there. Anyhow, the fact is, imagine only one person then. When the Lord leaves the world, when he comes as Shri Krishna, Shri Ram, etc., and he leaves, and some saint now takes all his divine actions that he had performed during the time and puts it in a book as a Ramayana, Bhagavad Mahapuran, etc. We read that. We sing his glory. We take hold of his name. Then we are able to go to him. While he was here, personified, no one benefited. When he left, uncountable souls have attained Bhagwan just by taking hold of his name. And this is why the saints have written that greater than Ram, greater than God is the name of Bhagwan. Because no one benefits when Bhagwan comes personally. When he leaves, we take hold of his name and we go to him. There is no greater and smaller. It has only been said like that because while during the descension period, nobody benefits. After he leaves, we take hold of his name, we take hold of his divine pastimes, we take hold of his glories, we listen to his wonderful katha, etc., and we go to Bhagwan. We fall in love with him after he leaves. So that's the reason why it's been said like that. Otherwise, there's no difference. All is the same. All has the same power. All will give the same benefit. We go to number 18. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe Jai
Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe
सब शक्ति है नाम में, मन निशि दिन आराध राधे राधे।
सब शक्ति है नाम में, मन निशि दिन आराध राधे राधे।
सब शक्ति है नाम में, मन निशि दिन आराध राधे राधे।
सब शक्ति है नाम में, मन निशि दिन आराध राधे राधे।
पै नहीं शक्ति न लाभ तीन, किए नाम अपराध राधे राधे।
पै नहीं शक्ति लाभ तीन, किए नाम अपराध राधे राधे।
पै नहीं शक्ति न लाभ तीन, किए नाम अपराध राधे राधे।
पै नहीं शक्ति लाभ तीन, किए नाम अपराध राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। सबय शक्ति है नाम में, मन निशि दिन आराध्य। भगवान अपने सारी शक्तियां, जितनी शक्ति भगवान के पास है, भगवान ने सब को लेके अपने नाम में भर दिया। Bhagwan, as I told you, has infinite powers. Everything he has, infinite, anant. And he's so merciful, he has taken all his power and put in the name. Naam naam kari bahudha nij sarva shaktis tartar pita niyamita smarane nakalah. एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः। शिक्षास्तक गौरांग महाप्रभु। गौरांग महाप्रभु descension of Shri Radha Krishna says in his Shikshastak that Bhagwan has uncountable name. Naam naam kade bahudha. Hey Shri Krishna, you have uncountable names. And you are so merciful, you have taken all your power and put in the name. Nija sarva shaktis. You have taken all your infinite power and put in the name. In other words, there is no difference between Shri Krishna and his name, between Radharani and the name Radha. One and the same. Shri Krishna is sitting in the name Krishna, Govind, Gopal. Radha Rani is sitting in the name Radhe. Plus, you have made no rules when it comes to taking the name. Where should I sit? Which direction I should face? What time? Whether I should take a bath? What kind of clothes to wear? Kuch nahi. No rules. If you're doing puja, etc., Havan, puja, there are so many rules you have to follow. You can't face any direction. There's a certain direction you're not supposed to face when doing puja. You cannot go in the burial ground and do puja, havan. You have to take a bath. You have to fast for so many days. Certain clothes, collars you can't wear. So many rules. Every devata you have to get different things. For Lakshmi, for Ganesh, etc. But when it comes to taking the name of Bhagwan, no rules. Face any direction. East, west, north, south, any direction. Sit anywhere in the toilet, in the ram shop, anywhere in the burial ground, anywhere. You have to take a bath? No. You didn't bathe for a whole year. You have on the same clothes you've worn for months. No problem. A lady is going through certain time of the month. No problem. No rules when it comes to taking the name. Etadishi tava kripa. Your mercies, my Lord, is to the extreme, to the highest amount. So merciful. Etadishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivami dishamiha janinanuraga. But my misfortune, durudaiva, is also to the extreme in that I do not have attachment. I do not get any benefit in taking your name. Why? If Bhagwan is sitting in the name, we should get all the benefit. If you take sugar and you mix in 10 gallons of water, if you drink the 10 gallon or you drink a few drops, you will still taste the sweetness of the sugar in the water. So how come we don't taste the sweetness of Bhagwan? Infinite sweetness in taking his name when Bhagwan is sitting in the name. ये जो माधुर्य है, जो मिठास भगवान में है, अगर भगवान और नाम में बराबर है, तो वो मिठास क्यों नहीं मिलती? If, as the scriptures are saying, as Gaurang Mahaprabhu everywhere is telling us that God is sitting in the name, there's no difference between Bhagwan and the name, then how come we don't taste the sweetness, infinite bliss of Bhagwan? Uncountable name we have taken. People do jap, 16 rounds. There's a mantra called Maha Mantra. It's from Ved, Kali Santarane Upanishad. Ved mantra. It's called Maha Mantra. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This is called Maha Mantra. One, because it's from Vedas, Kali Santarne Upanishad. And secondly, these are three names of Bhagavan, Shri Krishna. Hari, Ram, Krishna. Three names of Shri Krishna. So people do jap. They take a mala with beads, 108 beads, and they go around one time, it's one mala. एक बार जो पूरा जाते हैं, saying that mantra, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And some are so crazy, they say we cannot say Hare Ram first, we have to say Hare Krishna. Because Krishna is greater than Ram. Jagat Gurutam Sri Kripalu Mahaprabhu says, anyone who sees difference in Ram and Krishna, there is no hell that has been created for them as yet. Such a great sin. One of the greatest nama prad, to see difference in Ram and Krishna. They are one and the same. This is how the mantra is written in Kali Santarane Upanishad. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But this comes in the mind of some people that Krishna is greater. He is Purna Avatar, so say Hare Krishna first. Whatever, it's one and the same. If you can say however you want, but don't have the feeling one is greater than the other. So they do jap. So some do 16 times, etc. Yet no benefit. No benefit. Why? Because there's no belief that God is sitting in the name. They're just doing like parrot. They're taking the name like a parrot. If there's a parrot in the home of someone, if the person in that home is always taking the name of Bhagwan, always taking Bhagwan name, let's suppose in a devotee or some pandit, and he's always saying Sitaram, Sitaram, Radhe, 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 that parrot will also say Radhe, 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 Sitaram, Sitaram. But supposing that parrot is in the home of an alcoholic, and when he gets up in the morning, he just uses bad language. Every day he's using, the parrot will also use bad language. So most people just take the name of Bhagwan like a parrot. No feeling. There is no feeling, no belief that Shri Krishna is sitting in the name. That when I am saying Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hari Ram Krishna, that Shri Krishna is sitting. He is in the name. There's no faith, no belief. So how are you going to benefit? Number one. Number two, we do Nam Aprad. There are many kinds of sins. Pap. There are 5 Mahapap. So there are uncountable sins, but there's 5 Mahapap. Mahapap, written in Vedas, etc. Stealing gold, drinking alcohol, killing a Brahman verse in the Vedas, interfering with the wife of the guru, the preceptor. Number 4. And number 5, anyone who helps anyone in these 4. This is called Panch Mahapap, 5 Mahapap. Great sins. Amongst those, Sharab pina, drinking alcohol, is the greatest one. Drinking alcohol. But there is a sin even greater than that. It's called Nam Aparad. Any one of these five Mahapap, they are prashchit karma. Repetitive action written in the Vedas, that if you were to do certain thing like Gayatri Mantra, etc., in a certain way, certain kind of karma action, you can be forgiven for any one of these five. But when it comes to Nam Aparad, there is no prashchit karma. There is no repetitive action in any way that one can do to be forgiven. Unforgivable. What is Nam Aparad? Finding difference, seeing difference in the name, etc. of Bhagwan, in the form, that this form of Bhagwan is greater and this is smaller. Shri Krishna is greater than Shiv. I don't want to hear Shiv. I don't want to even hear the name Shiv. Or I love Shiv. I don't want to hear Krishna. Seeing differences in the name, form, pastimes, etc. of God. Having negative ideas, negative thoughts about the saints, devotees of Bhagwan. Even more worst. If we commit a sin against Bhagwan, it's Nam Aparad also. Guru can save you. Guru can forgive. Vishnu sthane kritam papam, Guru sthane pramuchyate. Guru sthane kritam papam, bhajalepo bhavishyati. The scripture says, if someone thinks negative thoughts about Bhagwan, God, he curses Bhagwan, thinks wrong about Bhagwan, Guru will forgive. Guru will save you. But if someone thinks dirty thoughts negatively about a saint, about a Guru, even Bhagwan will never forgive. Even Bhagwan will never forgive. This is the greatest Nam Aparad. I didn't do anything, I didn't try to hurt him. You thought? The moment you think, you have committed Nam Aparad. And that destroys all devotion. जो बीज है भक्ति की, उसको सुखा देते हैं, नष्ट करते हैं. The very sprout where bhakti is sprouting, that is destroyed completely when we commit a Nam Aparad, especially against saint, against a true devotee of Bhagwan. We have to be very careful. So two things. Yes, Bhagwan is sitting in the name. All the power of Bhagwan is in the name. The reason why we don't benefit, two things. One, that the faith, we don't have the faith that God and the name is one, that God is sitting in the name first. And secondly, we commit Nam Aparad. We have to save ourselves. There's much more about this Nam Aparad. We'll hear some other time. I'll finish here tonight. बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, राधा रानी की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, श्री युगल कुंज की जय, श्री गुरुधाम भक्ति मंदिर की जय. जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.